We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about some bullish news in the crypto space and in general for the markets. What could happen that the prices are really turning around? I mean, Bitcoin is slightly green already today, sitting at 61,153. But also there are a couple of things to talk about. We're going to talk about XRP as well today, as there are some news around that. And of course, Ecomi and Veve, because there are some things to look at that are quite bullish here. So make sure to stay all the way through to get the entire pack of information around Bitcoin, altcoins, and NFTs. Good morning, every one of you. How are you doing? Let me know in the chat, how are you doing? Where are you tuning in from? I'm really interested about that. It's the freaking Friday, guys. I mean, did you get that? And for Anemon, at least, and me, but also for everyone else in Germany, yesterday was a public holiday, so unfortunately there was no live stream. Also, some private things going on, you know how it is. But today we are back with the live stream. And I see here a couple of people are already there. MVE says GMPHers. Good morning to you, MVE. Anemon says GM from Germany, and Z-Phaser says morning. So we are good to go. A couple of people are awake. We got our coffee, so deep sip of coffee now. That's good. The weather, stable, rainy, gray, autumn weather. I love it. I really love this transition. We got sunflowers, we got pumpkins, we got all the good stuff in the house that makes you feel like autumn is kicking in, right? So that is nice. But also, we got a lot of news for crypto here. So I want to quickly thank my rare hodlers here around me. You see all the nice little icons and collectibles of the rare hodler fam. So they are really hodling the line here and supporting this channel in a massive way. They funded the TradingView premium access to so that we can do a better TA. So I'm really grateful for that. And if you want to become one of them, then you only have to become a channel member, and then you will get the mint number 43 if you're the next one, and a collectible here, and you will be on the screen. So there's very little space to get people on screen. But anyways, with that, let's jump right in. Double coffee from Spain. Yo, buenos dias, Patrick Bultman, also GM all, and Mr. Squibbs has 30 AF15 secret rares. What a boss. Yeah, absolute boss. I mean, if I had one, I would be happy. Unfortunately, I have none. But maybe that's still possible. Who knows? Okay, so where are we with the Bitcoin? And for everyone who's driving, guys, we're sitting just under that little support zone that we have drawn inside the bull flag, still in the upper part of the bull flag at $61,142 US. So we're not doing too shabby in the face of World War III and other shenanigans that are going on. So if you consider that, this drop off is laughable. But we have been coiling up as predicted. We have been rejected as potentially anticipated. We hoped we would break out by now. We still have a day left, and maybe today is the day where we come back, right? So we will see what is coming out today. But first of all, let's just see that here we seem to have found some resistance, and it's around this noisy area where a lot of things are going on anyways, right? So sometimes it's not so clear, because if you want to say, okay, we could find resistance here, or on top of this, or on top of this, or on this, or on this, right? So there are thousands of areas where you would probably have to go into way lower time frames. But the broader picture is that this handle is still alive. This consolidation range is still alive. That in comparison with other cycles, we are a couple of days of where we pumped in other cycles, so 5 days or so. So we should be there. Many people now say October is cancelled, which makes me a little bit more bullish on October, because if everyone says it's cancelled, then probably something's going to happen. What we also can see here is that our resistance line has been broken, or our support line has been broken and flipped into resistance. So there could be a little bit more downside before we go, right? So maybe we are testing down to the level of 58, 57-ish. That first of all, that would be realistic. Secondly, it's not impossible. It's quite possible. And it also isn't a problem, because even if you consider this reversal here where you have higher highs, if you come down like this and then bounce, you have another higher low, and then higher highs here, right? So this in itself would just continue as a reversal structure where at some point you break out of this. I wouldn't even say bull flag anymore. I would say you have a nice falling channel right now. So it's very big. It's maybe, some people argue it's too big for a bull flag, but I mean, if you look at the size, the magnitude of the pump that we had before, it still looks like a flag. So I would say if you look up the textbook bull flag, it's still a flag, right? That's fine. That's okay, right? We're still here. We can still go all the way to the bottom of this flag and come back. That would not be good, because we would still confirm this downtrend. I wouldn't like to see that, but I think it's realistic to come back to 58, 57K before you turn around. So what do we have that could influence the price? Let's see here quickly. Motili is also here. Hey, good morning, Motili. And AV Creation says, good evening from Oregon, USA. Greetings to the USA. And Patrick Bultman says, with the ETF, the big money is ruling the market. Is this bull run then the bear market still predictable, or is everything different this time? I wouldn't say it would be everything would be different, because until now we are forming the same patterns, and I think we're not too late yet. We just pumped a little bit too much, so you have to see the following. Like, we pumped here hard. Now we are correcting a little bit more, right? If we had come like this to the same place that we are right now over a longer period of time, everyone would be bullish, and no one would be saying anything bearish about the current situation if it was just like this. But the fact that we did everything in a couple of months, and now we are correcting to the same level as we would be if we would come up like this, makes a whole different story, just because the price action takes a different path, right? So many people, when we were at this level, anticipated that we would take a long time just to get here, right? And that after the halving, we would only be at 40 and something thousand. I remember that, and suddenly we were at new all-time high from the numbers perspective, right? But so far so good. Let's see what is coming up today. Today we are getting a couple of announcements. It's going to be at 2:30 p.m. CET, so Central European Time, which is something in the morning between 9, 10, something like that in the US, depending on the time zone, right? So it's going to be non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, ISM service PMI, and JOLTS job opening. So the main thing here is the unemployment rate and the job openings, right? So we already got some numbers around this, but today we're going to get more, and this could be deciding whether we are going to drop even lower if the job numbers are not good, the unemployment rate is rising, or if it looks like we are a little bit more stable, then actually we could see green price action, because that would make it, yeah. So for New York time, thanks for AV Creation for contributing here. For New York time, it's 8:30 a.m. So in the Eastern time. So yeah, exactly. That would be about 6 hours behind, 6 hours behind that calculation here, right? So obviously it's the same time, but it's a different time zone. All in all, if you look at the month, like from a monthly perspective at this bull flag, right? I mean, you can see it here. Right? It's not looking too shabby. On a monthly, you can even see how these candle bodies reverse trend, right? You can even see it. But monthly is always something like you look at it. You can look at it once per month or once per every 2 weeks, and then you see some differences, but it's really, really slow. So what I don't like is that these two here are on the TSI are coming closer and closer together, right? But also October has just begun, so this can look in a very different way. Just if we were to pump and break out, it would suddenly look like this, and they would be parallel. We saw this in the last couple of days. But if we were to crash here, I would be really, really fearful that the bear market might be starting, right? And I really hold much on the TSI, even though it's only one indicator. But there were, on the monthly time frame, there were no false signals so far, no false signals for bull and bear market, but there were close calls for a false signal, like here, for example, right? So we did not yet, and there's a first time for everything. If you look at other channels and so on, it's like this never happened, and then at some point it happened. So I am aware that there can be a fake out, and it could be the first time, but so far so good. No false signals on bear crosses, right? So you see it here. But also we never had a bearish cross on the TSI without getting this peak, right, in the TSI. So I'm still confident that with whatever is going to happen between right now and in 1 month, when we have the elections in the US, there could be a bigger pump. We need a good pump. Market's been brutal lately. Yeah, absolutely. And I think the boredom of sideways is more brutal than this. I mean, you remember we lived through this, right? And this was a more exciting time than this, right? The sideways, downward sloping little bit, right? You have to see, though, that from when that happened, we are up. We are still up. Sorry, what is this? 4x. We are up 4x, exactly 4x to where we are right now. And people are calling for a bear market, right? In comparison to this. So this was bear market bottom, and people are calling for like bear market crash, I don't know what, when we are sitting 4x above bear market prices. Just keep that in mind. Peter Dell, hello, best wishes from Australia. Tough time ahead, but it will change. If Trump wins, markets will fly. If Trump wins, markets will fly. If Kamala wins, markets will probably dump on the short term, but long term, they also will have to fly because no matter which US president is coming on, they have to print money and then global liquidity expands. And at least until now, the biggest correlation of markets to global liquidity, right? So what I could imagine, just to put this sideways period into perspective, is the following. All the whales, institution, whoever is buying through ETFs, whoever's buying spot market, whoever's trading Bitcoin and so on, they're all sitting on their hands waiting for the outcome of those elections, right? That is a good theory, I guess, to explain why things are just sideways. Peter Dell says, can you please check Mantra? Later, maybe, in the altcoin section. The closer says, how high can Superverse go this cycle? Very high, but it all depends on the big boss here. If Bitcoin shits the bed, nothing will happen. But let's jump into, let's just quickly reaffirm, big cup, handle, breakout. We are just, this little blip is us right now, right? Where everyone's panicking about. We're just back at the level that we were 3 weeks ago. So nothing to panic yet, right? We will see. If we break down from the handle, we will invalidate this entire pattern. Okay. So let's come to the news, to the real news, to the good news. US dock workers agree on deal with port operators to end the strike just a couple of hours, basically, or days after they have started the strike. This is very interesting. So International Longshoremen's Association announces agreement for wage hike and immediate work resumption. So so this was very painful for the economy. It costs about 24 hours of the port shutdown in the US costs about 5 billion damage to the economy, right? So that was a very clear, even if 50,000 workers get more wage, it's better paid in that than getting the economic damage. So that is happening right now, and it could lead to to green markets today, right? It could influence the markets to be green. Crypto has some correlation to the markets, so also that could be a positive sign. But then also look at this. We just got this initial jobless claims number, and that was a miss. So the initial jobless claims, they rose by 225,000. Estimated was 222,000, and the previous was 219,000. So the jobless claims rose by a total of 6,000 to the previous, and went 3,000 by estimate. So AV Creation says people were already starting to stock up in the stores due to the fear of shortages. Rightfully so, because if container ports are closing down, we have seen that in 2020-21, what's happening. People are always stocking up for weird things, right? But a little bit of stock doesn't do any harm, right? There are people that are prepped for like 3 world wars at the same time and so on. That makes no sense, maybe, but this makes sense. Yeah, don't worry. Come December this year, the markets will be flying. Maybe even November, right? It depends. It depends on the outcome of the elections also. Summary of U.S. September ADP jobs report. We also see U.S. economy added a better than expected 143,000 jobs. So this is the other side of the coin, so to say, where there's jobless claims and then there's job openings, right? So as per ADP, beating forecasts for a gain of 124,000. So a lot more job opened right now. Highest monthly total since June. That looks pretty good. That follows an upward revision for August, which added 103,000 and so on. So key takeaway, the strong ADP payrolls report provides evidence of a resilient labor market, and the confirmation for that would be today, right? So we will see today in the numbers. Then also, maybe on a not so good note, I mean, we have talked 2 days ago about all the rocket stuff and so on in the Middle East. Emirates is going to cancel today all flights from Iraq, Iran, and Jordan, right? So that came out yesterday, so it's today. So there, what does that mean? I mean, you wouldn't do that, like harm your own business, if you wouldn't expect that all of these countries are part of let's say, a heating conflict, right? There's talks about bombing nuclear facilities and so on in Iran. By the Israeli Air Force and so on. So there could be other countries that are going to insert themselves into this mix. And it could get nasty, also put pressure on the market. So this is definitely not bullish. But yeah, Emirates is taking precautions to not fly in the zone. But because there were also videos taken from passenger plane where you could see all these rockets going up in the sky. And it's like, that would be really scary, because I would be extremely fearful that also some are launched just under my ass, and then yeah, it can be dangerous. We saw that in Ukraine when they shot down a passenger plane with, I think, something like a Stinger rocket or so. So definitely not good. Then also the Federal Reserve, which by the way is neither federal nor is it a reserve, it has posted its biggest loss since in history. Yeah, his biggest loss in history in the last year. So the data is coming out now. So you have cost of operations in excess of earnings. So first of all, this is the first comment on this tweet also says, how is this even possible? So this is really something to see, like to think about. So you have a thing that is called Federal Reserve, but it's not a US government organ, it's actually a private organ. And then it prints the money to give it to the treasury, right? And then the treasury is going to whatever, like they together with the treasury are buying back bonds and stuff like that. So how is it possible that something like this is like running outside of like in the positive, and why even does it have to make earnings, right? I mean, they probably have to pay as a private institution. They have a balance sheet. They have to pay their workers, but how is it possible that you can print money, but you are 114 billion basically operating in negative, right? Yeah, AV Creation says market starting to look pumpy. That is good. Hopefully that indicates that today's numbers are going to be. But if someone has an answer to how this works, because they have been in a certain like transfer of capital surplus and U.S. Treasury remittances, right? That there's nothing here in 2023 last year. So I don't understand really, but it's is it worrying? Because I mean, before it was positive, right? Yeah. In any way, this is something to consider, that maybe we have to learn how this mechanic really works. If they have to, can they print money to get this back in the positive? I have no idea, right? So then I have two videos for you also that are interesting, because we have now seen that Bitcoin is the answer to most of the things that we have seen right now. We have a very uncertain world, and many people will realize in the future, in the future weeks and months and maybe years to come, that Bitcoin is a certain thing in an uncertain way, right? So listen to this.
Look, Bitcoin's the most certain thing in a very uncertain world. You know, and in a market full of chaos and sound and fury, people need a safe place to stand apart from the intervention of a government, an agency, or corporation. So Bitcoin represents a fair, open, equitable network with a very simple promise to anyone that wants to join, which is what you own is yours and no one's going to take it away from you. I'll be buying at the top forever. Look, Bitcoin's the most...
Okay, so basically what he's saying is that, and I think it goes back to what we have watched from him before, is that Bitcoin is one of the only things where you don't have counterparty risk. Like, I mean, gold is somewhat something like that, but gold is not finite, where Bitcoin is finite. So Bitcoin gives you a promise of the 21 million, and I will put this into perspective in a second, because there's actually a way to dilute Bitcoin, which is not in any fundamentals, but it's done by market actors. We will talk about it in a second. But nonetheless, it's a very small effect, and it's only if you don't buy the real deal. So technically, by that, I will say already what it is. It's futures, right? Because futures are bought, so there's basically paper exchanged, and it's settled in US dollars. So Bitcoin is not touched, while people are basically speculating on Bitcoin. So this is a way to technically, in a monetary sense, dilute Bitcoin. We will see it in a second. But other than that, the real coin, not dilutable, 21 million, hard capped, which is different from gold or any other asset, and there is no counterparty involved. No government in the term of bonds, no company in the term of stocks, no people in the term of real estate renting or even real estate living in, because real estate also, you depend on a lot of things, like how does your area develop where you live, how does your country develop where you live. You will get taxed even if you have a property tax, even if you're living in. So you cannot say, oh, I bought this house and now I quit my job and I will just live off of my garden forever. You can't, because you have to service a tax, right? So you have always a counterparty involved that with all these investments, with Bitcoin you don't, right? The only counterparty that exists is the rest of the world that is running Bitcoin nodes and network, right? That's the only thing, right? So, and then also all governments technically could simultaneously decide to forbid it, but then again, you can still trade it on a black market, right? So then governments decided to adopt. But let's see also the other side of this is where who needs Bitcoin the most is those who are ignoring Bitcoin the most, is middle class without assets. So listen to this from Jack Mallers. I think he is spot on here.
Somebody has to lose. And the point is, who's going to tell the public the truth? Because the point is, there is a hole in the balance sheet. Our domestic debt to GDP is around 130%, meaning there is an excessive amount of debt with no growth to pay it back. So there's a hole, there's a loss. That loss has to be realized. Who's realizing the loss? And the public deserves to know that answer. And if it becomes rich people are expected to realize the loss, I'll get on this podcast and I'll say that. But right now, what authorities are deciding in front of us is the poor average American is expected to realize this loss. That is not arguing against you guys. That is just a fact. And so if you are listening or you have people you care about, tell them to buy Bitcoin, because if you don't have assets, and if especially you don't have Bitcoin, you are expected to realize the loss. Period. Somebody.
Yeah, and that's, I think there's no way around this truth. And it's not only about the US government and the poor, because I would even disagree with one thing. It's not the poor that are expected to realize this loss. It's the lower middle and upper middle class that it is expected to realize this loss all around the world. Why? Because the realization of this loss, the hole in the balance sheet, is done by devaluing productive power, like in the terms of what you can get for your salary. That hits everyone with a job, right? So some of the poor that are the poor that are working, but also the entire working middle class to upper class. And then is inflation, so global liquidity expansion, meaning money printing, inflation, devaluing all assets, like all cash, and devaluing your purchasing power in front of assets. So most of the lower middle class, maybe, and also the poor, they do not have assets, right? But on the lower end, for many poor, there is a government redistribution from what other taxpayers put into social systems. Maybe not so much in the US, but for example in Europe, there are many social systems. So I would say you have, as a middle class person, you have a big chunk of your productive power going into these social security, social networks that are positively benefiting who is poor. So the middle class bleeds there, but then also many of the middle class are saving because of still like a lot of financial illiteracy. They are saving up in cash, so they get that gets reduced, and then they are buying assets that are not outperforming the market. So that's also a thing, right? So and that's how people are filling the gap, filling a hole in the balance sheet, right? So yeah, I really like that. I mean, he's insanely good in putting into 1 minute the whole problem, right? I mean, let me know what you think, guys. Who is mostly affected with that? Who's mostly paying this, or expected to realize the loss, right? And what is the loss? The loss is overspending, and then filling up this overspending out of the money printer, devaluing the purchasing power and the productive power of everyone. I want to really hammer this home. It's not only about you having cash at the moment or not. It's also about, and this affects everyone, even if you ape all of your salary every day or every month into Bitcoin, your purchasing power gets devalued, right? Because if this inflation leads to Bitcoin going up massively, you can buy less Bitcoin with it the next month, right? So it's kind of a chicken egg problem. People react on issues. Also, I see right now only the comment. AV Creation said, "What do you think about the HBO doc about the to be released, claiming they figured out who Satoshi is?" This exists since a long time. Everyone, like, there are people that claim in court that they are Satoshi and they couldn't prove it. There's a very easy way to prove it. You just log on to the wallet that holds 1 million Bitcoin, and you take a couple of Satoshis and move it on order, right? You agree on an amount and you move it, and then you prove that you're Satoshi, right? That's the one side. And someone else trying to prove that someone else is Satoshi, very difficult, very, very difficult. But because how would you do that? So that's always like creating news out of nothing. Someone claiming is Satoshi. I don't think Satoshi is alive anymore. I don't think so. Probably certain groups that tried to maybe eliminate the Bitcoin network in the very early days got rid of him after maybe torture, something like that. It's only speculation, but I think that whatever individual or group is not among us anymore. Yeah. Okay, but let's talk about big breaking bullish news. Look at that. Swift just released an article on how their global network will allow transfer of digital assets and currencies to move within their existing network. Right? Digital assets and currencies. Anyone bullish on NFTs, by the way, hearing this? to move within their existing network. In other words, crypto transactions are coming to Swift in 2025. Not in the article, but pretty sure Chainlink will provide the middleware to make this possible. I would fully agree with that. Chainlink is exactly made for this, and Chainlink has already done POC with Swift and so on. So this is very bullish for altcoins, as well as for Bitcoin, as well as for NFTs. This is all bullish. Like Swift, saying here, recent experiments have proven our capacity to connect public and private blockchains, interlink central bank digital currencies on a global scale, and integrate multiple digital asset and currency networks. Now we're moving beyond experimentation, so implementation, right? Next year, we'll be collaborating with our community to pilot an advanced version of our infrastructure that is capable of orchestrating digital asset and currency transactions across networks for the first time, and so on, right? So very, very bullish. I will run down through these things. Now let's talk about Ripple. So here, Brazil, bom dia Brazil, right? Let's go. Because even though there's a Bitcoin logo here, this news is about Ripple, right? Brazil's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Mercado, has partnered with Ripple to offer cross-border payments. Very bullish news here for Ripple. Cross-border payments together with one of the biggest exchanges, and even more, like people claiming that the SEC is going to appeal, or did appeal. Folks, settle down. SEC only appealing the August 24 ruling of the fine and money, not the security status of XRP. So what does the SEC actually wants? The SEC wants more money, right? SEC wants more money. That's what I understand here. This is super bullish. No wonder Bitwise ETF was filed. So people in the SEC, they want to squeeze out another couple of million here and there. You remember a couple of months ago we reported that also the SEC is actually not profitable. They waste way more money than they actually get from fines and so on. So they have to squeeze a little bit harder here. But then it's done. You see that there are ETFs on XRP filed. Also, other markets, they don't give a shit. They just buy. Buy into partnerships with XRP. I'm not saying that XRP is like super good per buy here or something like that, but whoever holds XRP may be interested in this news, right? So overall, I don't think that there's something to drastically change in the status of altcoins and so on. Question: how will crypto be affected when people start putting crypto in wills? Good question, but I think the problem is, at least in Germany, for example, if you put crypto in your will, then the government wants a share of it, right? Our government here in Germany, at least, they're taking like 30% from whatever, like, it's crazy. If you, I think it's beyond 300k or so, but if someone just gives you a house as a heritage, some people have to sell it just to get the actual value of what's in it, because they have to pay like 30% to the government or something like that. I'm not quite sure how much it is, but it's something there and thereabout. Like, our government's like, they want everything at every step, like a lot from everything on every step. It's like, you get your salary, go ahead, pay 45%. Then with the rest of what you have, you invest. You make profits on that investment of your already taxed money. They want 25% of your gains. Okay, so you come back with, if you make gains, you come back with 75% of your gains. And then you go into the supermarket buying something with that. And then depending whether it's food or not, you pay 7% on food or 19% on every other article on your already taxed money, right? It's crazy. And then, let's not even talk about it. It's just madness, right? And then the rest of whatever you have saved up, it gets devalued by money printing. If I had to guess, I think CIA was the creator of Bitcoin. Either they were the creator or they were the ones that got rid of the Satoshi. Yeah, Who knows? Half my paycheck for the king. Yeah, exactly. Like, people always say like, oh, medieval age was really hard, and it was hard, but they only had to give a tenth to the king, right? Imagine that. Imagine you would only have to give a tenth. Like the tax was like, you have your grain, and then 10% of your grain you have to give. You literally have 90% left. That's ridiculous tax. Obviously, let's not talk about all the hardships and wars and plagues and whatever. Obviously, we are living in the best time you can ever live. But regarding tax, it's just wild. So, yeah, maybe we jump over this because I already discussed it. But basically, Bitcoin futures are kind of suppressing the Bitcoin price. But this one here is bullish. Look at that. Old whales, new whales, right? Whale wallets. So blue is old, or purple is old whale, is new whales, sorry. And new whales are buying at a pace that has never seen before. Now, probably the ETF wallets are also in that, but still, look at that buying here. I mean, what the heck? And you see that the performance is mostly the same, but old whales, they're good, right? Old whales seem to be like, oh, I'm fine, I'm good with what I have, right? And new whales are like, wow, this new money, this new currency is so great. Let's buy more of it. So it seems like we are getting some massive buys in, and somehow the price is not moving. And also old whales are not dropping off. So who is selling, right? Not whales. So it seems that who is selling is not whales. Yeah, it's just crazy. But this is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin, obviously, because they're just buying like crazy, and at some point supply shock will come in, right? And this is also why the price doesn't really drop that deep, because there are just so many buyers, right? And overall, I mean, if you place a moving average here on the Bitcoin price, here you have your adoption curve, right? Adoption curve of non-zero address count. You see here how it's developing, right? You see the price, this is the Bitcoin price in here, and then also you see the non-zero address count. And the funny thing is, it's flattening out a little bit, but we can expect this to just go up here, and the price scale you also see. So it's an upward trajectory until proven otherwise, right? Oh, by the way, this is how it should be looking. I kind of did not move that, but here, take a good look at this, because it's really going places. I think it's not going to take too long until we are going to pump. So let's look at the markets here also. Let's look at some... That's very fitting that Degen is up, right? 15%. But let's look at the top 100 first. So biggest mover, FTT. I always say, like, as long as FTT and Hex are the biggest movers, this market is not taking anything real. Overall, though, on the week, FTT is up 60%, so whoever is trading this is making some money. The rest of the market, though, is really down. Arweave, minus 25%. Starknet, minus 25%. The Graph, minus 20%, almost. Celestia, minus 22%. Also, VeChain, minus 15%. Injective, minus 16%. So, like, altcoins really smashed, which brings me to one thing. I want to look at how our altcoin breakout actually looks like, and if this is only retest, or if we are in danger to fall back into this. Yeah, we did fake out, and we went back into the falling channel. This is actually not good, right? Not good at all for altcoins here. We were hoping for a retest, and we did not get the confirmation. So, as I said many times, when you have a breakout, that's not enough. You also need the confirmation, and we didn't get it. We are back in the falling channel. So right now, yeah, we have to wait and see how this develops. But this is not good at all for altcoins. Yeah, and we probably see it also in Bitcoin dominance. Where's the Bitcoin dominance? Bitcoin dominance. We don't have it here right now. Yeah, okay. I think we are running out of time also. So let's look at a little bit more at the at the charts. So someone asked for an altcoin mantra. Mantra was the thing, right? Mantra. Okay, I don't know why this doesn't work. Mantra, there you go. I think we looked at this last week, right? But here we go. Mantra's actually doing, this is why you ask, right? Mantra's doing extremely well. It's in an uptrend. What can I say? There's not much to do here on TA basis, right? It's trying to get back to all-time high, and you have to see how it goes. Right, that you could argue that there is some form of a big uptrend here. As long as this trend line holds, you are poised to go up. But yeah, crypto is extremely scary. STX is king. XRP, yeah, let's look at how XRP is moving. But XRP should probably have, yeah, XRP got a little bit wrecked here on this new FUD. Here, this is the weekly chart. Yeah, it's long term. You would want to keep this trend long term and at some point go parabolic, I would say. Yeah, this is what you want for XRP. And I will not go into a deep TA whatever thing, right? You can also go a little bit more like this. But this is it, and this is the new SEC FUD, right? But overall, and maybe you could also argue that you're forming some kind of something like this, price compression. Maybe this takes until next year, yeah, something like this, and then boom, it would be good if you have this. But don't worry, this could also be like this, right? Who knows? We don't know how this will play out at this point in time. We have too many variables at the moment on the cardboard. Let's wait for elections, rate cuts, economic data, and so on. Because in the end, no matter if it's Mantra, if it's XRP, if whatever it is, it depends on the global market development, right? STX is second best cryptocurrency in the world and under-recognized. STX stacks, right? STX USD. Yes, that is actually interesting. I would say this is nice bounce. Let's put a zone in here because it's not super clean. But what I see on the first glance is this, right? So you have this, you have a lot of confluence on this level. Here, 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 and now you bounce here. So it wants to go upwards, I would say. You have a sharp correction, a deep correction, and you probably have, if we go on a lower time frame for STX, this will be the last coin that we're going to look at before Ecomi and Veve. You have a bigger resistance here for STX in this zone, right? That is not broken, right? So this is a big zone. This could it looks like it wants to go up. And then the next stop is here 239, I would say. It looks not too shabby, right? So I think this is what you have. Like this level is very strong, I would see, because but also you don't want to come back many more times because you have its support. It bounced heavily here, so very relevant. Then you have it here. It holds. But you know how it is. The more you knock on this, so you really want to flip this now into support, right? What you don't want to is a rejection, come back down, bounce on here and lose this, right? This is not what you want to see. But overall, like the way that it's moving like this is, it looks good. It's coming up again. It wants to break out. So far, so good. Yeah, I would say the breakout to the upside here would definitely be more bullish, right? And also a break to the upside here would kind of because if you see this resistance here, this overhead resistance is actually also here. It was resistance, right? What you don't want to see is that you kind of argue or you flirt with a inverse head with a head and shoulders situation here, right? So it's still active, a head and shoulders here. It would be, but if you break out, you would invalidate it, right? So you really want to see this breakout. Okay, this is only my 2 cents on STX here. Let's come back to some of these coins in the future and talk about it. Let's see here. Okay, the OMI chart is erect. Let's refresh it. So for OMI, it doesn't look as good as for Stacks, because, and let's go back to logarithmic. Because we're still waiting for the whales to make them move. But what we had is, on the news of Stacker going live, we had some kind of a pump and dump, right, in the OMI price. So price bounced here, went all the way up in the means of 4 hours or something like that. Went all the way up and came all the way down, right? And now we are green a little bit higher here. So a small uptick here, which you want to have develop in an uptrend, but it is not yet, right? On the 4 hourly, you also can see like this happened on the 4 hourly, all the way between the two bands. So I would say from the reaction here that our wedge pattern is very accurate at the moment, and we want to now see that that at some point we come up and whales are making them move, but we are not there yet. We are not there yet. The news are not strong enough, and I think that obviously besides global markets doing very well or having to do very well, we also need more bullish news. We need exchanges and everything else that we have drawn in here for the Ecomi price to actually go upwards, because this means massive sell pressure from the upside towards this level, right? So everything up here is sell pressure down. That it's not like you want to see the opposite. You want to see the candle sitting here and like this long wick to the upside. That's what you want to see. You're welcome, Web3V. Reef still green while others are red. Damn, yeah, Reef Finance, right? So this is on the Ecomi. I have a couple of things here. I don't know why this went into German. Can I change this? It shouldn't be. It should not be German. But basically what does it say? Let me just quickly translate. The market for NFTs has been dropped. Like the NFT trading volume has dropped 47.9% in the from last month to from August to September, right? So by cut in half, from about almost $1 billion to $500 million. Right, so that shows that NFTs have seen a significant drop. And then also this one, 3 OpenSea executives quit in the last 3 months as troubles mount for NFT marketplace. So recent departures include OpenSea's former COO, so Chief of Operations, and celebrated developer. The SEC is investigating the marketplace. The NFT trading volume has cratered in the last 2 years. Absolutely true. And what comes to mind is David Yu saying that they have looked at OpenSea Marketplace, looked at integration and decided that it would not be good to have NFTs on integrated with OpenSea. Now, if this goes belly up, if this NFT exchange goes belly up, first of all, it would be bullish for Blur, and secondly, it would also mean that the analysis that the Veve team here did on this exchange would actually be true, right? So we will see how it develops, but just for your knowledge, that we will see here. We will observe closely. But if this goes under, then I hope that everyone has their NFTs secure and whatnot, but you have them on MetaMask, so I think that shouldn't be a problem. They have moved to look. These former executives moved to Uber, Scale AI, and Open AI respectively. So the AI stuff in that industry is draining what's happening basically here. Yeah. So and then also this was very funny. I have to show this. There's like in the space there are a lot of fudders, but you guys you don't know how it's really done, right? So you're going to learn how to fund now, okay?
One of the best ways to drain people's energy nowadays is via the internet. This woman is a astrophysicist. Actually, this is not how space works. Read a book. Now I just wait for the comments to come in. Hey, can you mansplain any louder? Yeah, sure. These are all different accounts that I have set up. The energy you get this way isn't quite as pure, but if you do enough of it, it'll fill you up. Shanghai sucked. Where was the Chinatown? Jason Mraz is just too weird for me. Jesus actually hates horses. Childhood obesity, LMFO. When they call you a dumbass, you know you've got them. They called me a dumbass. Women are getting too tall. Yeah. You can drain their energy via social media without having to even be near them. That is racist. You're correct. It is. Oh, yeah. 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 Oh, they hate me.
It's surprisingly simple to get total strangers completely furious with you.
They should get a life.
That's like half the Veve fam of the last bear market. It's like they have a setup with 50 monitors and they're like I think a couple of them are very well known to us because we were always curious how people spend 5 hours a day hating on a project that they don't like anymore. This is why. Because they need to drain some energy, and it's like a sport. You saw, right? And the comments are also very good. It's like talking to an astrophysicist and just say, that's not how it works. Read a book. This is the perfect comment, right? So it's very, you don't need arguments. But anyways, I just found it funny. Obviously, this is a fodder to distinguish from someone with a legitimate concern. But here's the fudster. I think Veve has quite a lot of them accumulated. But nonetheless, let's talk about our favorite project here, the Veve fam, or the Veve in general. What is this? Oh yeah, Stanley Gibbons. So the recent partnership with the Stanley Gibbons stamps. Stamps are coming out today. Also, I think Marvel Comics is now 3 years on the app or something like that. This is very good. And obviously the new co-CEO and so on in the weekly recap here on Veve. Besides that, I don't know if you saw this one, but I got these. So they are free to read on Veve Comics. These all 5 of them, you can get them actually for $0. If you don't find them, you go to Veve Comics on the website, and then you put in just trick, because these are listed under trick or read, and then you will find all 5 of them. And if you want to have the Veve exclusive version for them, you can also switch to the Veve exclusive. Then I think every of these is like $250 or $299 or something like that to get the exclusive. So I got one of those, one of each as exclusive. But if you only want to go and read them like Spider Boy and Spidey and Amazing Friends and so on, you can just grab them for free. I don't know if this is helpful, but you can get these comics for free. And I just got one of each, no special mints or whatever. But this is a cool thing. I think they're a little bit early though. I mean, it's beginning of October. Halloween is like in 25 days or something like that. They also had a maintenance window, which I missed. There is a Gold Goblin comic coming out, which actually looks pretty nice, but I don't think it will really sell out at this point in time. Yeah, this is also interesting, right? Marvel comic out of reach. Fantasy for most collectors, now within reach. Yes, exactly. So Marvel Comics is this is a good post here, right? The Marvel Comics is available for like, I don't know, $15 or so on the Veve app, still with a certain scarcity to it. So that is definitely a thing. Overall, interestingly, is so first of all, Veve NFTs total have passed 10,000. Yeah, there's 100,000 more than 10 million. And there is a jump now in the numbers of new wallets with collectibles. Actually have jumped from 660k 318 to 422. So the numbers apparently have jumped by almost 100 in only a couple of days, which is interesting, right? So what did we have as drops in the last couple of days that could have led to this, right? So one thing is the tickets, but the tickets were before, so I can't really see which drop that was. Maybe the Star Wars diorama could have been it, but I can't really figure out what this drop was. Maybe we see it here in the waitlist announcement or so. Or maybe it was because of these comics on the Veve side. But yeah, this was the last drop here, the Star Wars diorama. And if 100 and this Peter Pan, maybe that also was something. And then we are getting the stamps, but it's not out yet. So yeah, I think it must have been the Star Wars thing, right? And this leading to 100 new users, that's pretty good. And if you don't have the drop off, like it's 104. Look at that. This was there an airdrop or something like that? I don't know. But this leading to 100 is good, and you don't have a drop off like before. Like many months before, when there was a drop that some flippers liked, you had the spike, but then you also lost half of it as people dumped it into the market. This is not the case. So question is, if all this marketing and so on is actually taking effect, right? 100 new users is not, it's not a little thing, right? Because if you see that most of the comics that are coming from the Veve comic side only have 40 editions, and I think they are holding back like 4 of them, like 10%, so if 36, only 1 in 3 of these new users can have one of those secret rares editions, right? So this is how fast things can influence scarcity and price on the Veve app, right? From an investment perspective. I know, collect this app and whatnot, but you know that we are also here for the investment. So I think that is interesting as well. So let me finally, as a final point, also look at Stacker quickly. And look, let's refresh and look at the latest sales of Grails. Actually here, there we go. So here we see it. I think this is what has been mentioned before. Mr. Squibs buying Amazing Fantasy. The floor price is at $7,500. This just happened 2 hours ago, and I think this is something to really keep in mind. We are in a bear market. The NFT volume has dropped off quite significantly to only 300 million. And on Veve, stuff is selling on a regular basis between $10,000 and everything else, right? But there are, like you see, today there has been a partner statue that sold. The floor price is at $1,500. So 2 partner statues sold today, and one of these, Spider-Man Noir, where probably this wasn't the price that it went for, but this is the floor price. This happened in the night. And then before, we have all kinds of things that actually are having crazy floor prices, like this Wakanda Forever thing. And then there's also a gold logo that sold. All of this in turn of a couple of days, right? So, for example, gold logo price 5,000 floor. This is definitely not the price that is selling for. It's just that there are no others listed anymore. Of the secret rares, so someone bought a cheap one and then suddenly the price jumps. There are a couple of secret rares where there are actually only 1 or 2 listed, and I think at some point this will be where new listings will come in once the market has more demand, and people will be asking for listing comics at a fair price to actually accumulate what they want, right? That's impossible to jump that much. No, it's on Veve. It's not because I can. So if you have I have a comic, right? That only 40 of them are available in the whole world. So I have listed it for 1 million, and I was the only one for a couple of days. I was the only one that had this comic listed. No one else listed it because either they are sitting on it or, I don't know, they forget about it, they are not willing to list it. So the floor price was 1 million for a couple of days, and now someone listed the same comic for 8,000, so the floor price drops to 8,000 in an instant, right? So this is how it works. So this didn't sell for this price. This only means after the sale, this is the new floor. So that also means that until someone else lists this specific version of a comic, either someone has to spend 90,000 or you can't just buy it. It's just unavailable for you, all right? But these here, they are actually, like the gold logo, it's actually selling for 5,000. And also the Amazing Fantasy is actually selling on this level. And so from time to time, you have a Miles Morales that is selling over 10,000. So these are pretty good numbers, I think. And yeah, also here, the Incredible Hulk is sitting at 1.6K. This is rising floor price. So let's look at here, for example, Journey into Mystery 83 is something that I was eyeing for a long time. It's out of reach. It's sitting at 934. It's out of reach for me. There are only 250 of this. The market cap is 230K technically with this price. And now someone is accumulating them. So a while ago when we looked, the most that one single wallet had was 4. Now there's someone who has 10 of these, right? So yeah, and we see how the floor price reacted to this. It's like between 1,000 and 750. So it's actually up by 200 already. Yeah, so that's all I can say about this. But anyways, guys, I'm running late here. So guys, make sure to smash up the like button right now for this live stream, and make sure to subscribe with notifications on if you haven't yet. Like would be really appreciated. I didn't ask for it, but please like this live stream. And guys, wherever you are on the world, have such great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon, and I see you in